When Steve told me praying mantises could get bruises, I didn't believe him at first. Yet here it is, a real bruise on an insect. But the most interesting thing is that they appear after mating, and males are the ones who cause them. Yeah, in the animal kingdom, procreating isn't the most romantic thing ever, and it seems like male praying mantises got the rough end of the deal. You've probably heard how their life goes after mating. In about 30% of all cases, they get devoured by females. Of course, if you think about it, 30% doesn't sound too bad. Though if I were a praying mantis, I wouldn't like such statistics at all. But not every male is ready to accept his fate. Scientists found out that some praying mantises attack females first, fight them, and even seriously injure them in order to mate and not end up as dinner later. They use their sharp, dagger-like claws to inflict wounds that leak bodily fluid. This results in something that looks like bruises. If the male wins this fight, he gets the opportunity to procreate and stay alive afterwards. Ha-ha! I made it out alive! Do you get it, evolution? Do you see it, females? Praying mantises are actually pretty smart. Males not only attack first to gain the upper hand, but they also choose the least aggressive female. That is, if a praying mantis sees that a female just ate her boyfriend, he'll rather stay away. Smart thinking. So, who else risks getting eaten while mating? Ah, yeah, spiders. Some of them have to dance to avoid death. Some catapult away as fast as they can, and some, like praying mantises, go on the offensive. When it comes to mating, the male Thanatos fabrici just walks up to the female and bites her legs. Just in case, this courtship ritual only works if you're a spider. Don't try to do this. So the males bite the female's legs. She, of course, lifts them up to protect herself. At this moment, the male ties the lady with a web. That's it. In this state, she can no longer eat the male, which means he can mate with no risks. After a while, the female frees herself. By the way, even such measures don't always help the males of the Thanatos fabrici species to survive the courtship. 11% of spiders still die before mating. Still think human dating is hard? Things get tougher when it comes to bees. After mating, the drones lose their genitals right mid-flight, leaving them in the female, and drop to the ground, dying shortly. But since the bees live in large colonies, this doesn't really bother anyone, and insects find a better use for their intelligence. They learn to open bottles. This seems weird, and totally unlike normal bee behavior. For two bees to work together, let alone so efficient, I know people who can't figure out which way to twist the cap, but these little ones nailed it. Though a bee specialist, Dr. Lars Chitka, doesn't believe that was real teamwork, most likely the insects were just lucky that the same bottle got their attention. But the fact that the bees realize there's something sweet in a closed bottle isn't an accident. Humans often leave trash around, including such soda bottles, so the bees may actually have learned to associate them with food. Bees are smart enough, and all it takes is a little persistence. Even bumblebees could learn how to pull the strings to receive rewards, even though in lab conditions. But they also pass this skill to the rest of the colony. Now that's quite cool, especially for a creature whose brain is about 0.0002% of the size of a human's. Usually you'd expect these kinds of tasks to be solved by, I don't know, some birds like crows or seagulls who'll do anything for food? Even break a law. Okay, I don't think seagulls realize they're breaking the law. Still, a bird named Steven stole almost $400 worth of snacks from the Tesco Extra store in Paynton. Moreover, the bird took only certain stuff, mainly chips with some favorite flavors like cheese. Steve, listen, any chance this bird might be your relative? No? All right. Well, despite his unhealthy diet made mostly of chips, Steven gets his steps in by trotting back and forth to the store at least 3 times a day. If I were the store owner, I'd frankly become concerned. But is it possible to stay safe from seagulls determined to steal your food? Judging by what Steve found, it is. Scientists made some research and found out seagulls were more cautious about the tempting treat if there was a person nearby who was watching them carefully. In fact, seagulls don't seem to like it when someone looks at them. The experiments proved that when the scientists stared at the seagulls, the latter took far more time to snatch the treat, or they didn't approach the food at all. So maybe the store just needs CCTV cameras, or a guy with a piercing glance. If only all problems could be solved this way. Imagine you're a fisherman who calmly fishes with a net, but one day, instead of the expected catch, you get only a few miserable-looking fish in a net that was bitten through. And in the water, a whale shark is giving you a wide grin. Okay, maybe not a grin, but that's actually a real issue for the fishermen in Cenderawasih Bay. There, the sharks literally latch on to the fishing nets full of fish, tear through them, and suck in as much food as possible. I can understand them. Why waste energy looking for food when it's already there waiting for you? Though people aren't happy about that. They try to distract the sharks by throwing bait, but the sharks know for sure the main course is just ahead, and it makes no sense to be distracted by some appetizers. They're not seagulls, after all. And this is the green heron, and it goes even further. While whale sharks steal fish from people, this bird has learned to catch it in the most human way possible, using bait. The green heron uses a piece of bread as bait. Most likely, it carefully watched the fishermen and figured out how fishing works. Actually, the bird's even better at it than some people. There's a logical question, though. Why lure fish with bread when you could just eat the bread and not waste time? I don't have a solid scientific answer to this, but it seems like the reason lies in calories. That is, bread is, of course, a good thing? Actually, no, don't feed the birds with bread. But still, the green heron knows that while bread is good, fish is even better. It'll provide more energy than a piece of some bun, so you can sacrifice it for the sake of fish. If you have other theories, share them in the comments. Steve and I will be happy to read them. Actually, birds use tools when they know for sure they'll achieve better results this way. Imagine you have a big, delicious egg, which, well, you really want to eat. But if you try to break it, there's a chance you'll simply break the beak. Well, unless you're a woodpecker, of course. You could pick it up and then drop it. But what if that's an ostrich egg? Anyway, how would you even pick it up when you're a bird? All you can do is pick up a stone and use it to crack the shell, and you know it really works. A variety of birds act in this way. Does this mean birds are getting smarter and preparing to take over the world? Nah, that's rubbish. Next, you'll tell me geese will learn street rules to... Wait, really? Yeah. Looks like some geese have already figured it all out. Moreover, they act as if that's some kind of instinct to find a pedestrian crossing and move along it. I think they were checking the area for a while, watching people cross the road, and came to a conclusion. In fact, animals can quickly figure out what's what, and geese aren't as dumb as they may look. Actually, I wouldn't call geese dumb even behind their backs, just to be safe. You seen their teeth? These birds are clearly accustomed to road traffic. It may not be the first time they've crossed the road, or maybe they just really love that Beatles album. Perhaps if scientists look into this goose phenomenon one day, we'll have the answers, but for now, they're too busy. They have to deal with birds that remove their tracking devices. Scientists were doing usual research, attaching tiny backpack-like tracking devices to 5 Australian magpies to see where the birds fly and how they interact with each other. But the birds simply outsmarted the scientists. Although the tracking devices were super strong and very advanced, the birds began to take them off each other. They pulled and snipped at the harness with their beaks, and it wasn't clear why. That wasn't of any use to the birds, they just adapted. This is the first case like that over the entire history of observations. To be honest, I don't know if other animals do something like that. I'll have to look into this. For now, let's relax. If you've ever been sledding down a snow slope, you know how fun it could be, even for an adult. Why, even for a dog. This good boy or girl, doesn't really matter, understands how the slope, snow, and plastic sleds work. I don't know how exactly the animal could figure this out, but it definitely doesn't need the help of people anymore. Perhaps it'll soon learn to shovel snow out of the driveway. See you later.